Hey everybody, it's Allie and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, March 17th, 2019. I would like to send Summer a personalized thank you card for finally getting Kyle into a lovemaking scene. I am sorry, but Lola never did me no favors in that department. Because on Friday, at the very end of the show, as Summer was peeling away Kyle's white wedding dress shirt, whew, I was seeing what all the fuss was about. She was even having trouble getting that shirt off over his big old bicep. Kyle has an out of this world body, and I am thankful for getting to see it. I mean, it was almost a challenge to get his shirt off over that big lump of muscle on his arm. Oh, Kyle, what big biceps you have. And Summer brought it to my screen. That's all I'm saying. Okay. So all that hot Kyle bod aside, the Summer Kyle Lola situation is heartbreaking. It's undeniable. It's heartbreaking for absolutely everyone. I think it's really easy to want to jump on Summer and tear her apart, but I think the thing we have to keep in mind is the person who put this wheel into motion was Kyle. Surely there would have been some other alternatives. Kyle is the one who decided that this was a brilliant idea. Summer is just doing what Summer does best. She is taking what she can get any way she can get it at any cost. That's who she is. And right now, she is just desperately hoping that this marriage to Kyle is going to become real at some point in the future. And I, for one, am not mad at her. I pity her. It is pitiful, the desperation that she has right now. And then there's Kyle. I would like to pity him, but he's the one that created this situation. He's the one that dreamt it up. He is sacrificing himself, trying to make everyone else happy while destroying his own happiness, and I don't think it was the only solution. So now we've got also Lola lying, now awake, in her hospital bed, wondering where her boyfriend is, and I feel terrible for her that she's gonna wake up from this surgery only to realize that Kyle was off marrying Summer and becoming a husband to Summer in every way. Lola is gonna be thinking, wait a minute, was I unconscious for a month or for a year? How did we get here? How? Lola is going to be crushed beyond belief. She will be alive. She will make it through the surgery. Everybody will be fine, but Lola will be crushed beyond belief. Kyle is not going to be able to look her in the eye. It is going to come spilling out of his guts like lava that he only married Summer to save Lola's life. And in the end, I mean, yes, Lola's life will have been saved, but no one is going to be happy. All three of them are going to be miserable. The fact of the matter is, this was Kyle's suggestion. This is Kyle's conundrum. Kyle chose the path, and for now, at least, he seems to be committed to it in every way. Every way. Kyle and Summer tell the Rosales family about their engagement, and I suppose what Kyle is thinking is that Lola's gonna be fine. Lola's gonna live. Her brothers are gonna take care of her. And he is going to now sacrifice himself, put all of his focus onto Summer and taking care of her, which is giving her this false sense that Kyle is going to fall in love with her eventually, is going to become a husband to her eventually. Summer, along with Phyllis, decides it's time to plan this quickie wedding like now, because you are for sure gonna want to lock this marriage deal down before delivering the liver. You do not want Lola waking up good as new from the surgery and then having Kyle change his mind and run right back to her. It makes complete sense that Summer wanted this marriage now. So they plan the wedding. It's the wedding day. Honestly, Summer is standing there at the athletic club on her wedding day, not knowing if Kyle is even going to show up. She makes a desperate, icky phone call to him from the coat closet saying, it's our wedding day. Where are you? I hope you're not thinking about bailing on me because bad things will happen if that's your choice. It was an ultimatum. It was a threat. She flipped that back around on him. This was all Kyle's suggestion in the beginning, but now she's capitalizing on it. Now she's saying, oh, if you don't marry me, I'm gonna let the woman who you really love die in a hospital sooner rather than later. Summer has no confidence that Kyle is going to show up because she knows deep down that this marriage is a farce. But Kyle did show up, and so did all of the guests, and everyone put on their fake smiles, pretending that this was a completely normal two people in love wedding. The only person who wasn't pretending through the whole wedding was Summer on a level. Because Summer was saying vows to Kyle that she meant, while Kyle was saying vows to Summer that he meant for Lola. It is heartbreaking. There's just no two ways around it. They go upstairs to the honeymoon suite, and oh gee, the staff just so happened to make sure that there was chilled champagne sitting out for them, and they'd put rose petals on the bed in the shape of a heart. Oh gosh, how awkward this is. I mean, I guess nobody told the concierge that this wedding is more for medical tradesies. And I guess Kyle feels that he needs to follow through on this marriage to Summer with his whole heart and his whole body. He needs to follow through with this marriage in every way, even though they agreed prior that sex was not necessarily going to have to happen in the marriage. But Kyle decides that in order to be making good on his promise to Summer to be a husband to her so that she will be the liver donor for Lola, Kyle initiates the holy matrimonial bone down. I mean, I guess we wouldn't want Summer's white wedding lingerie nightie to have gone to waste. I mean, she had that in her bag, I guess. She had a little after wedding lingerie. She went off into the bathroom, put on her honeymoon lingerie, came back to the main room where Kyle is, and starts talking about how scared she is. Oh, she's just terrified. She feels so alone. Nobody in her family knows she's going through this risky surgery. Oh, I mean, what was Kyle supposed to do? Not help her release some of those fears? I really figured that Lola would wake up from her coma for the first time after Kyle and Summer were already married. But the fact that Lola was lying there thinking of him at the very moment that he was getting married to and making love to Summer, it really added an extra layer of agony to that situation. When Lola fluttered her eyes for the very first time and saw Kyle sitting by her bedside, he, I think, was holding himself back from wanting to kiss her and hold her and consume her. It was clear that they would have been on a path to getting back together. He wanted her, she wanted him, and the next time Lola sees him will probably be after the surgery, and now the first thing her fluttering eyes are gonna see when she wakes up is that thick black wedding band on his finger. I don't know. Lola is either going to shut down completely and assume that she was all wrong about Kyle all along, or she's going to figure out pretty quickly that he only married Summer to save Lola's life, and ooh, won't that be a savory little slice of revenge to be holding over Summer's head? I mean, Summer can be flaunting her husband around town all she wants, but if Lola knows for a fact why Summer has that husband, Lola's got a really, really good piece of info to keep pushing into Summer's face and pushing it into her face and pushing it into her face. And if that's the case, I kind of hope she does. I think that Ray and Arturo are going to tell Lola that they already suspected Summer was her liver donor. It's not real hard to fill in all of the blanks about the marriage from there. Ray figured it out pretty quickly. I don't understand how Ray's instincts can be so right on the money about something like Summer being the donor. I mean, he picked it up in an instant. How can his instincts be so great about something like that? And his instincts could have been so wrong about everything with this JT investigation all along, like for months and months and months. I don't know. But Ray does tell Arturo about his suspicion that Summer is Lola's liver donor. And then Arturo tells Abby, and when Abby finds out about all of this, when Abby finds out then about the wedding, she makes it her business real quick. Abby, instead of confronting Kyle, which I would have thought maybe would have been the better idea, Abby goes straight to Summer to confront her about all of this, demands to know exactly what's really going on, even asks Summer bold-faced if she's the one giving Lola the liver. I mean, come on. Lola gets a liver and you get a husband. The timing is at least suspicious. Abby seems to have herself in her own little pickle. And I'm very interested to see how this is going to develop. Lola almost lost her life, and now she's in danger of losing her dream job, too. Lola's been in a coma for a month now. I honestly can't even believe that it's been a full month since we had seen her. But the restaurant biz is a whole lot like showbiz. The show must go on. The restaurant must go on. Abby had to put all of her plans for the restaurant on hold while Lola was in the hospital, And she did it for as long as she could until she was forced to go out and interview other chefs. Only Abby has not told Arturo that. Arturo thinks Lola's still going to have her dream job waiting for her when she gets out of the hospital, and that might not be the case. I don't think that it was by any means that Abby wanted to do this. It was pretty clear that Abby either needed to find another chef or lose her dream when this restaurant deal just goes south and tanks. You can't just put it on hold indefinitely. I just can't imagine that Lola's gonna get out of this surgery and be able to hop right up and run a restaurant in a couple of weeks. So even after Lola's surgery is successful, I'm imagining that Abby is gonna have to find herself choosing between her restaurant dream and her fiance. Mariah's "I'm very disappointed in you" look that she gave Kyle when Kyle confided the whole story about Summer and Lola to her, it burned. Mariah's look burned. Mariah's role in Kyle's life has always been to basically tell him what a big old fool he's being. And yet, Mariah doesn't really like it very much when anybody else tries to step into her life and tell her that she's being a fool by choosing to stand by Tessa. Tessa was arrested for, I think it was extortion this week. I think that was the charge, extortion. And she gets cuffed by the police right in the middle of Crimson Lights, dragged down to the police station. Mariah has to bail her out, probably just so that she could have a date for Kyle's wedding. Nah, just kidding. It just all worked out that way. Tessa got bailed out of prison so she could attend a wedding. But I tell you, I don't think this is going to work out for Tessa very well. Tessa herself noted that bail is only a temporary solution. Tessa pretty much admitted her own guilt freely and under oath, may I remind you. So I'd imagine that it's only a matter of time until Tessa gets her own hearing. I think Tessa's gonna have her own separate little trial going on here. And the difference between a trial for Tessa and the trial that the Margarita crew had is whether or not JT Hellstrom is alive or dead, Tessa still committed the crime that she's being charged with. So where there's a complete certainty that the other women in the Margarita crew will ultimately be acquitted of the crimes they were convicted of, it's gonna take a whole nother feat of nature entirely to get Tessa out of her jam. Guilty, guilty, guilty. Sharon Newman sentenced to 3 years in prison. Victoria Newman sentenced to 10 years in prison. And Nikki Newman sentenced to 30 years in prison. Dun dun. Bring down the gavel. Well, I guess if you have to go to prison, it's at least good to go to prison with a couple of friends. I mean, it's like going to a party and at least you already know 2 other people there. I don't know. Well, I think the more surprising thing about all of this is that Victor Newman is not tearing down the walls of the courthouse and the prison for Nikki, to rescue his diamond in the rough, to rescue his baby. I mean, right now, Victor says he's doing everything in his power to get the conviction overturned. He's got to call in to the judge, but he's being real mild about it. It's almost as if the characters themselves don't really believe this storyline. They don't really believe that it's permanent. Maybe except Billy, though. I think Billy is one of the only people right now who's really giving a lot of fervor. He seems more outraged about this conviction than anyone. Billy is hostile all day, every day now, fighting for Victoria. He was lashing out at Michael Baldwin, accusing him of doing a bad job on Victoria's defense case when the women gave Michael so very little to work with. I felt bad for Michael getting reamed by Billy when he did the best he could. I don't know. You know, I mean, you know how I feel about it. I sort of just want it to be over with, and the only shred of hope that any of these women have is the fact now that Nick is finally getting around to saying that he's finally getting around to figuring out the final pieces of this puzzle and proving that JT Hellstrom is still alive. Even though Phyllis wasn't convicted, how guilty she must feel. She never should have gone to that prison, though. After the women were convicted and sentenced, Phyllis should have stayed away. I know that she was trying to make amends in her own way, but no, just being there and just having the ability to turn around and walk out if she wanted to, while Sharon and Nikki and Victoria are trapped in there like animals. Phyllis even having the option to turn around and walk out of that prison is like flying her freedom flag right in their face. She should have just stayed away, and Victoria was right to snap on her. Victoria was so mad. She practically had fangs. Victoria like hissed at Phyllis, told her that even though she is going to be locked in prison, she is going to make Phyllis pay for turning on them. I wonder what that means. Oh, one interesting little side note that I wanted to be sure to mention. Sharon revealed this week, as she was talking to Nikki and Victoria, that somewhere along the way, and I'm not sure if I missed this at the time or if it was just being revealed right now this week, but apparently Ray offered Sharon immunity at some point in exchange for what she had told him. So it was interesting, I guess, to hear Phyllis pleading her case with Victoria about how she wasn't the first one to crack. And it's true. But if I'm following this correctly, then Sharon may have been the first one to crack and confess to Ray, but Sharon also didn't accept an immunity deal that would have implicated the others, including Phyllis, but it would have saved Sharon's own hide. So is it true, am I understanding that correctly, that Sharon had an opportunity to do what Phyllis did and she didn't take it? Kerry has them all right where she wants them. Phyllis and the Abbotts going after each other head to head. The great new Jabot War of 2019 with Kerry right in the middle. Last week I asked you guys if you felt like Y&R should have kept the character of Kerry. We know that whatever Kerry is planning on doing, whatever little scheme she's right in the middle of, it's gonna carry her off the show. And I asked you guys if you think Y&R should have maybe developed around her a little bit more. The majority of you, 63%, said no, not sad to see Kerry go, bye-bye, with the remaining 38% feeling like Kerry actually had some more potential. I voted that I think Kerry had a lot more potential. I think she was probably just sacrificed to maybe make some of the other main character storylines a little bit tighter. Occasionally the cast just gets a little too large, and I don't know, you gotta focus on what you have instead of having too many irons in the fire. So I think, you know, I think she had some potential if they decided to focus on her, but I think they're just deciding to go in other directions. Not that she didn't have a lot to offer the show. I am liking that we're actually finally getting some sense of who she is and what she wants now. This week, Kerry was perfectly positioned between two big, ripe, juicy offers. One was from Phyllis. Phyllis wants to develop Kerry's Jack of Hearts fragrance, which she developed specifically as a personal gift for Jack. She didn't want to take it to market. That was not her intention. But Phyllis tries to force her into handing over that formula so that it can be developed for Jabot. And Kerry was pushing back on it, saying, no, 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 I didn't develop that for you. It was personal and you don't own any rights to it. It was a very passive-aggressive negotiation between the two women. Like, Phyllis wants the fragrance, Kerry doesn't want to sell, and they start talking about ownership and rights, and it all has this veiled uncomfortableness about it, like this legality cloud hanging over their friendship slash business relationship. I kept getting the vibe that these two women, if they weren't friends, they would rip each other to shreds. And maybe that's what'll happen in the end, I don't know. But Phyllis decides to give Kerry every penny that she asked for in exchange for the formula and the rights to develop this Jack of Hearts fragrance. And so Kerry walks out victorious into the hall and sends a text message to someone that reads, I have Phyllis and Jack right where I want them. And this is going on, by the way, right as Jack is telling Billy that Kerry has Phyllis right where they want her. So Kerry's right in the middle, perfectly positioned. She goes right over to Jack's house, and he's got his own juicy deal for her in writing, exactly as she asked. If she helps him bring down Phyllis, funnels away information from Jabot, Jack's gonna give her a brand new title, way more money, whole bunch of company perks. And Kerry says yes, they are celebrating their new status as Genoa City's newest power couple, when we see Kerry's phone starting to ring off in the distance with a call that's coming from someone labeled PC. PC. So that's the question of the week. Who's PC? I was wondering immediately if it was Peffrey Chod Hellstrom, or as the week went on, I started thinking perhaps it was Pashley Cabot. I don't know exactly, but I do know that Mal Young loves this shtick. He loves the mysterious initials phone caller. Do you remember when Tessa was getting mysterious text messages from XZ? This is the same thing, it's just PC now. I was really leaning toward thinking that PC is Ashley somehow, after Phyllis tells Kerry that she may have found a way to keep Jabot ahead of the marketplace by keeping some of Ashley's competing products out of the marketplace. Now, Phyllis hasn't revealed any details about how she intends to do that, but as soon as Phyllis tells Kerry this little piece of information, Kerry runs right back into the hall again, and she makes a phone call to someone saying, we just hit the mother load. Okay, well, on the one hand, I am thinking it is entirely possible that Phyllis knows she can't trust Kerry. It would be an unnecessary risk to go telling Jack's girlfriend anything about the company when she doesn't have to, and when Phyllis knows Jack and Billy are coming after her. But if Phyllis is being genuine and is truly giving information to who she thinks is a confidant, The mother load that Kerry's referring to might be a plan to not only catch Phyllis attempting some kind of scandal, but if Kerry were able to catch Phyllis attempting some kind of scandal against Ashley, then that might be considered a mother load of music to Ashley's ears. And then since Kerry can't seem to stop herself from secretly communicating every move she makes with PC, we see on Friday she sends another text message right after Summer's wedding telling this mystery person that the Jabot war has begun. So I don't know. The fact that Nick is looking for JT at the same time that we're seeing this turn in Kerry's character, it makes it hard for me to not want to connect dots between those two. Unless, hell, maybe Kerry is JT Hellstrom. She's transgender after all. Those hormone shots were all just a ploy. It's JT. He's hiding in plain sight. No, I want to connect it to JT, but the person who I see as having the biggest motive to want to bring Jabot and Jabot's leadership to their knees would be none other than my beauty. I do not understand what's going on with Anna. She was real hot to trot to sell Devon a few of her hit songs this week so that she could have him cut her a big old fat juicy check. And she was so insistent on selling these songs and getting paid for them that it threw up a bunch of red flags in Devon's eyes. Devon decided to run a credit check on Anna, thinking that maybe she was getting herself into more debt, she was having some financial troubles. But what Devon ends up finding out is that Anna's not really in debt. In fact, she has great credit, which means that she's blowing through a whole bunch of money somehow, somewhere, and she's not revealing a thing about it to him or to us. When Devon confronted Anna about it, she was understandably offended. I mean, I get it. She didn't want him digging around in her life, but she was more so just completely evasive, saying something about how he may never know the full truth about her. She's just a really private person. And I don't know. I don't know if I believe it or not. I want to believe that Anna's a good girl, but I'm also wondering if there's any possibility she's just pulling the wool over everyone's eyes. So I thought that might make an interesting poll question for this week at yrchat.com. Do you think that Anna is a good girl? Or is she a secret bad girl and we're all in for a really big surprise? Let me know. Let me know what you're thinking about where we are with Anna's character. It feels to me like a shift, you know, like a rewrite, like a realization that Anna's bad credit storyline was just a bad storyline, and so maybe the writers were trying to come up with something more interesting for the character. I don't know. I just hope they decide to actually keep the character and not send her into some kind of new secret text message relationship before they just send her right out the door. Christine just took Phyllis's testimony and she twisted it around like balloon animals. Quite a party trick. That was last week's Who Said It quote, balloon animals. It was Phyllis who said it about the way Christine one-upped her. 10 of you guys guessed it correctly, so congratulations, Jamie, Henry, Leslie, Cece, Jamie D, Sandra, Marianne V, Ambreen, Cherie, and Diana. You guys all got it right. This is a ridiculous quote to have picked for this week, but I love it. I think it's a little something to keep in mind. Who said it? Livers sometimes fail for no reason at all. I basically just wanted to use this line so that you could all keep that in mind for all time, not just for this week, but keep it in mind for the rest of your life. Livers sometimes fail for no reason at all. And you never know when you might go into a coma and wake up and the person you were involved with is now married to someone else. Just some food for thought. YRChat.com is the website if you think you know who said that. And if you get it right, I will give you your shout out on next week's Y&R Chat. As sad as I feel about the situation that Summer and Kyle and Lola are in, and as dumb of a decision as I think it was on Kyle's part, it has been a storyline that has provoked a lot of conversation. I've gotten a lot of comments this week about the goings-on and the quickie wedding, and in that way, maybe it is a successful story. I always like it when Y&R does something that gets us talking. So let's get into these comments. Gary asks, did Kyle write his own beautiful, meaningful vows, whatever they were, when he married Summer at the altar? Yes, I think Kyle wrote his vows. Yes, they were meaningful, but it was interesting that they were also very vague. Kyle never said, Summer, you're the woman that I love. He never even said, I love you at all, even though Summer has been saying it many times throughout the week. Love you, love you, love you. Kyle always just kind of finds a way to skirt out of it, and she never presses it. But my impression was that Kyle wrote the vows about Lola, and he only stood there and recited them to Summer. Ugh, who would want to win that way? Summer. I think that's her personality. I think she just wants to win. She wants to do anything at any cost to win. We saw it in the relationship with Billy. We're seeing it now. Ugh, Tina Cole says, I thought Kyle said in his agreement that to get married to Summer meant that he did not have to perform husbandly duties. And then the episode ends with them appearing that they're going to sleep together. Please tell me that he stops it and that this doesn't happen. I am still a Cola, that's Kyle plus Lola fan. And I felt it was a bit heartbreaking to see Lola staring at the phone, waiting for Kyle's call, and knowing that she's completely oblivious to what's going on. It was heartbreaking. I really kind of have liked Summer and Kyle together more than Summer and Lola. I feel that that's where I feel the more chemistry, but the fact that Y&R played it this way with Lola lying there wondering about Kyle looking at the phone call that she made to him, it really did make me feel for Lola. It is a heartbreaking situation, and I think that there's no getting out of it. I think Kyle and Summer did sleep together, are sleeping together. I think he's now going to walk around town trying to play the role of the dutiful husband, and he's going to choke back all of those feelings for Lola, all of the happiness he feels that she's safe. And I wonder if maybe part of Summer's redemption story will ultimately be letting him go. Set that dove free, and if it comes back to you, then it was yours, and if it didn't, it was never yours. Maybe that's what we're gonna see. I just hope we keep, I'm liking it. I'm liking it now more than I was a couple weeks ago. The triangle is, I think, finally hitting a point of interest and scandal for me. Katie says, at this point, Summer and Kyle should just stay married. When Lola finds out that they got married and slept together while she was waiting for him, it's a done deal. Kyle didn't even make an attempt to break up with Lola, right? He saw her, she woke up a little bit before he was gonna go get married, and they did lead her, or she was led to think that they were going to be together and that he was coming back for her. And I mean, whether he meant to or not, I don't think he was trying to lead her on. Maybe he was just trying to not do anything that would upset her before her surgery. That would make sense, but I don't know that Lola's going to want to fight for him. That's the question. I could see Lola more closing off and deciding to try to go back to focus on her career. Question is, will there be one there for her to fight for? Daisy says, wouldn't it be an interesting turn of events if Kyle hired an actor to officiate the wedding and he and Summer weren't married after all? Oh, that would be good and bad, and what a deceit. I mean, to trick Summer into going through with the surgery, that would be so bad. I mean, it is so hard to believe that Kyle is just self-sacrificing himself like this. I mean, somehow, in a way, it doesn't feel completely true to his character unless love has turned him into a complete and total pile of mush. You would think that Kyle would want to be fighting for himself. So it would be much more Kyle-like for him to pull some kind of twist to tell Summer that, aha, he finally bested her. I mean, do you remember how competitive they were during that sex bet? Oh, a fake out marriage would definitely be a way for him to get back at Summer for all of that, but it would also be so cruel. She'd be like, what? I gave a liver? I gave a liver and got nothing in return. I could make her a t-shirt. I gave Lola a liver. And all I got in return was a stupid t-shirt. Oh, Connor says, this Summer Abby feud is going to be interesting, and this will probably be an unpopular opinion, but I'm on Summer's side when it comes to Abby. Austin ruined Summer, made her become someone more careless about others. Abby had a hand in that as well, so I totally get Summer's quips back at Abby. Yes, Connor, I agree. I never really thought about it that way, in that the situation with Austin is what really turned Summer's character. Summer was boring and bland and a good girl, and then she had the relationship with Austin blow up. He was cheating on Summer with Abby, and then he became like a serial killer or something. He became a killer. So that was really the catalyst for the change in Summer's character. I think right after that, the actress went off the show, and then they brought her back maybe a couple times, but I think she even had said when she first came back full time that was, you know, part of the old Summer. That situation made her realize that you can't let people walk on you and you gotta go and take what you want, yada yada. So yeah, I think that Summer was able to transform herself out of being that victim-y type of a girl, and what happened with Abby and that little affair certainly played a role in that. So yes, and I like that Y&R's writing that back into the story too, letting us know that these two characters have a little bit of history, and I agree that the upcoming feud should be very good. I also did feel like Abby should have taken her concerns to Kyle though, not directly to Summer. I mean, in a way it's like, okay, Abby, who do you think you are? Go talk to your relative. Don't just get up in Summer's face because you're looking for a fight. But I also think that from Abby's perspective, she's just trying to fight for Lola. Abby loves Arturo. Abby is going to become a Rosales, and so she wants to fight for the Rosales family. So you got to give her credit for that too. It'd be a good little fight here. Oh, I had quite a few people wanted to follow up with me last week about what went down between Nick and Cricket, and I thought Michelle wrote a nice little summary here. There was a baseball watching scene where Nick and Cricket were watching their beloved Chicago Cubs. Nick was impressed with Chris's baseball knowledge and the fact that she was a Cubs fan when most Southern Genoa City residents are Brewers fans. Michelle says they kissed, and it didn't go any farther than that from what I recall. That's what the majority of people said. They didn't sleep together, but Christine and Nick did have a little kissy kiss. And I seem to remember them both feeling weird about it afterwards. And maybe that's why they didn't pursue it. But that's a fun little moment there. Thank you guys for reminding me. Oh, let's dig into this. All this trial. It's funny, isn't it, that even though that was so dramatic, I mean, Nikki Newman getting sentenced to 30 years in prison, it's such an eyeball roller that to me, that was not the main story of the week. I was far more interested in what was going on with Summer and Kyle and Lola than the stupid trial that's been going on too long and that we all know as viewers is going to get undone. It's hard to feign too much concern over Nikki going to prison for the rest of her life when you know within 2 weeks they're all going to be out of there. But Leslie noted that Brittany has been great throughout the trial, but she sounded so funnily fake when she was pleading for leniency for Sharon. I noticed that too, Leslie. I love Brittany. I've been singing her praises for the past couple of weeks. But when she was talking to the judge about how Sharon was manipulated by a man who was supposed to love her, I mean, she was laying it on so thick that it was unbelievable. I was watching her thinking, ooh, Brittany, this could work against Sharon. It's so clear that you're trying to create a feeling and you're trying to play on the judge's sympathy, and that could really backfire. It was just so cheesy, and as you say, just fake. It felt fake. But Leslie also gives us a little bit of more info on Lauren Woodland's legal background. Lauren Woodland is a civil litigator. She specializes in business and entertainment litigation. She handles a broad range of matters, including breach of contract, business torts, fraud, partnership disputes, defamation, and sexual harassment. Lauren is experienced in handling cases for plaintiffs and defendants through all stages of litigation, including mediation, trials, and appeals in state and federal court. Oh my, what a resume she really has. That is so interesting to me. I wasn't sure if she actually was a trial attorney or what area of law she practiced in. So thank you for letting me know. She's a jack of all trades. I mean, not just in her legal career, but just in her life. She's a multi-talented individual. I'm so completely impressed with her. And I'm just going to keep on saying it. I wonder if now that the trial is over, we're going to see any more of her. I want Brittany and Raul to come back on the show. I'm sorry, but Raul is hot. I don't know why they didn't keep him on and continue to develop him, but man, they should bring, I want to start a campaign now. Bring back Brittany and Raul. And he's a lawyer too, right? Am I wrong? I think he's a lawyer. When they came back for the Walnut Grove Centennial, I believe that Raul revealed that he was also a lawyer, but I don't know that he is one in real life. Maybe not. Whatever. Bring him back and get him in a shirtless scene, will ya? Y&R? Okay, well, Laura weighing in on the sentencing. Laura says, for the sentencing, I would give them 0 time for murder, but 1,000 years for obstruction of justice. Yes, Laura. I mean, the murder charge is definitely extenuating. The obstruction of justice, yes, yes, yes. Guilty, guilty, guilty. But I don't think I would have convicted them of murder. I don't think I would have given Nikki 30 years. I don't know. What do you think? Would you guys have found them guilty for murder? Would you have found him guilty for murder? That's a question. I thought about making that a poll question, but I just have this feeling that it's all going to be resolved within the next week or two when we see JT's happily and perfectly healthy face trotted into the courtroom, or maybe some dark alley somewhere. I don't know. Gary says Phyllis, having orchestrated the whole JT cover-up, makes her next in line after Nikki to receive the harshest sentence. Christine was a fool to grant her enemy immunity when she could have easily gotten what Phyllis provided elsewhere. I agree. Phyllis would have been the number 2. I mean, in terms of a case against any of these women, Nikki would be the strongest case, but Phyllis would be number 2. And what Phyllis gave to Christine wasn't necessarily all that great. Yeah, I don't know. I think that Christine probably would have enjoyed just straight up convicting Phyllis a lot more than what ended up going down. Diana says, I wonder what Victoria is going to do to Phyllis from prison to get revenge. I also wonder what Victor's gonna do. Victor had told Summer that he was gonna get Phyllis, so it should be interesting to see what happens. I think, Diana, that maybe Phyllis is gonna be the one to find JT, or that Phyllis is gonna somehow play an integral role in bringing JT in and to justice. Phyllis has to have her own redemption arc here. They cannot just leave the character hanging out there as a betrayer forever. And that moment at the very end of Friday's episode where Phyllis and Victor are just looking back at each other after Nick runs off to go find Ray, I just wonder, Phyllis was back there tapping away on her phone, and I just wonder if Phyllis has some of her own irons in the fire to try to make things right. Tony says, I think Victor has JT held captive in a basement or a dungeon maybe. If the verdict releases the women, he can keep them captive. If the verdict sends the women to prison, Victor can bring JT out to show he's not dead. Who dug him up? I think he just woke up and stumbled out of a shallow grave. Well, I think that's a very interesting theory because the women were convicted and Victor is feeling very assured that the conviction is not going to stick, and now I'm chalking this up to maybe some not so great and enthusiastic writing, but you do make a very valid point that Victor could be the one to pull an ace out of his sleeve. Maybe Nick and Billy's little crusade is not necessarily going to go anywhere, or maybe it's just a red herring. Let's talk about Tessa. Julie says, I'm upset that they arrested Tessa. Number one, she was already kidnapped. Isn't that punishment enough? And number two, she should have just pled the fifth. Remember that? Tessa did, yes. She did end up not helping herself. I don't think she had any idea what was going on. I think Tessa thought that Christine already knew everything. And so Tessa was feeling guilty for the other things that she did and has done. And I think she just thought they already knew it, so she wanted to now do the right thing and confess it. The problem is, I don't know how she's going to get out of this, and I wonder if it's Y&R's way of writing her out. It's hard to say because I've said that so many other times that it felt like Y&R was painting Tessa into a corner, and here they are again with the same brush. I'm not exactly sure what they're going to do. What are they going to do? How's Tessa going to get out of this? If she's been arrested, what other information could possibly be uncovered that would acquit her? I can't think of anything. Of course, I mean, the charges, the sentencing for extortion would, I would think, be quite a bit less than it would be for murder. So I think they could possibly give Tessa something like a couple years in prison and write her off the canvas for a little bit. Maybe that's where they're headed. I don't know. I don't know. Let's switch on over to Kerry here. Oh, this is so interesting. Michelle says, on the episode where Kerry and Jack were in his living room discussing Phyllis, I think it was Thursday, the actress kept looking over at cue cards. Peter Bergman looked her in the eye for every line, but she could not. She'd look off to the right, then back at Peter, say a line, then off at a cue card before she could respond to his line. Is that insecurity or bad acting? Ooh, I didn't notice. Michelle, I so wish I did. I gotta go back and download that episode and watch it because that is juicy. I've never, not once, noticed any of the actors looking at cue cards. I didn't even think they had cue cards. I thought that's part of your job to know your lines. Do they seriously have somebody standing there with cue cards? Oh, Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can't confirm or deny that, but I think it's a nice and juicy little rumor. Of course, it's also possible that maybe they switched up the direction of Kerry so quickly. Maybe she didn't have a chance to get into her lines. I don't know. But shoot, if Peter Bergman was sitting there looking her in the eye, you might have caught something there. Shelley says she is totally not sad to see Kerry go. While the character may have had some potential, I could never shake the fact that I feel the actress is better suited for a role on the polka dot door. I can picture her with children and puppets and a polkaroo so much better than any of the other adult characters on any show. I can't really put my finger on why. Perhaps it's her very innocent, childlike vibe. Maybe it's her overly animated facial expressions. Maybe it's her soft-spoken voice in which she enunciates every word so precisely. Ew, stop pawning all over Jack while the children are watching. On that note, a big thumbs down for her relationship with Jack. While it's nice to see him happy, and wow, Peter Bergman hasn't been this shirtless in ages, they are simply icky. Oh wow, Shelley. Well, I don't really even know why either. I can't put my finger on it, but the second you said polka dot door, I immediately pictured her on it. Yes, you could almost see the actress in a clown outfit or something. I don't know what it is. I mean, maybe she is a little childlike. Maybe that's part of the reason that her relationship with an older man didn't seem to sit all that well with many of the Y&R viewers. Yeah. Ellen also says that Kerry should have been related to Mamie and had an axe to grind. Yes, I'm sad to see her go. I like her career focus and she had untapped potential, but putting her with Jack was bad chemistry. She would have been fun with Billy or Nate. I think Y&R could have just done something different. You're right. I mean, if they're gonna bring characters on to have them come and go, I want them to have a purpose. Kerry's character didn't really do anything up until right now when they just decided. I mean, you have to have your main core cast and they should always be focused on, but then you need to bring in these others to come in to challenge them. You need to bring on some temporary characters to come in, challenge whether it's good or bad, and Kerry just kind of floated around. I don't think they had a whole lot of plan for her. They didn't have a whole lot of stuffing for her. I mean, could they have made her good? Yeah, probably, but it probably didn't help that they put her with Jack and the viewers just didn't respond to it. I really thought she would have ended up being a match for Devon. Sandra says, wait a second. Anna said she got burned by a music producer in the past. I was thinking it's more than that. Maybe Anna was involved in a relationship with her producer that produced more than just music. Could it be that Anna has a child with him? Perhaps the child has special needs or is in a facility and Anna needs funds quickly. Could that be why she is so fiercely protecting her secret? Ooh, a child, a secret child. That could certainly be. Ooh, that'd be a good way to build up some more family around Devon too. See, yeah, I think this is coming out of nowhere. They're switching it Anna's direction for one reason or another, whether it be good, whether it be bad. I'm not quite sure, but it does just feel like a shift in the winds. We've got to be coming to the end of Mal Young's reign here within the next couple days. He left the show a long time ago, and we are still seeing his writing influence. So I can't help but think that this is just the beginnings of the new writers and the end of the old. But I am really curious to see what those poll results are going to bring, to see how people are thinking that Anna's character direction is going to take. Gary says, there's all this positive chatter about Anna and how great she is and how much we like her and etc., etc. She really has pretty much remained one note. She's just obsessed with her career and she seems to be a loving person wanting to help Devon, but other than that, we don't know much about her at all. Fair point. I think I like Anna, the actress, and I'm seeing her as someone with a vibe that's unique on the Y&R landscape right now. But you do make a very valid point that I like her for only that reason and not necessarily for a whole lot of character reasons. She hasn't done much. She's mostly just been a nice girl. And if we back Kerry up a couple of weeks, you can pretty much say the same thing about her. I don't know, maybe it's just that the actress who plays Anna has a little bit more charisma or something. I'm not sure, but yeah, we just don't know that much about her. I think we're getting there though. Shakona says, how about we just forget that Anna is Devon's sister, give her a new name, and let her be Devon's love interest. I am finding it extremely hard to believe that they are siblings when Anna keeps looking at him like a piece of meat. Ooh, me too, me too. Well, we got a lot of good pieces of meat on the show this week. Oh, I have to tell you one little anecdote about Allie Jr. Oh, this is it's so weird and borderline humiliating. But I was watching Friday's episode live as it was on air. So 11 to 12, I'm sitting down, I'm watching Y&R. My daughter is playing somewhere off in the distance behind me. Who cares, whatever, mommy's got priorities, which clearly are soap operas. We come to the end of Friday's show and I'm watching Kyle and Summer starting to make out and move their way to the bed. And I'm just really starting to get into it, really kind of enjoying it, as I said. And all of a sudden, from up behind me, I hear this sound. I'm like, what the heck is she doing? And my daughter starts to drift toward the TV. She gets very focused on Kyle and Summer as they are making out, and my daughter's going... And then she turns around and she puts this laser focus on me and she walks toward me with the and gives me a big old kiss on the mouth. It was weird. It was really uncomfortable. I had to second guess my parenting skills at that point. Like, am I supposed to be letting a 2-year-old watch this? Is that bad mothering? Is that bad of me? What is Y&R's actual parental rating? Is there gonna be a point where I can't watch this with her? No, surely not, right? I mean, everything one would need to know about life you can find right here in soap operas. I feel that I'm giving her an educational experience by letting her watch the stories of life live on screen, or at least for the first 5 years until I send her off to boarding school. Oh, that was weird. I'm just kidding. I spend 24 hours of her whole life with her, but mommy needs from 11 to 12 to watch Y&R, okay? It's just a requirement to refill my tank. I spend plenty of time doing what she wants to do, but 11 to 12 is mommy time. And then also again from like 6 to 7 because I've been watching the episodes twice. I just need extra Y&R. I watch it the first time to kind of understand the plot and what's going to happen for the day, and then I go back the second time so that I can really get into the nuances of the episode. I think that would be considered obsessive, but I enjoy it. Don't judge me. Oh, or judge me, I don't know. Feel free, I suppose that's what I'm here for. YRChat.com is a good place to leave your comments about that or anything else. I do love hearing from you guys. It's always really, really nice. Vote in the poll. Feel free to air whatever it is you want to say. See the photos. Everything's there at the website. And then come back next week. I'll give you my thoughts and we'll do this whole thing all over again. Okay, everybody, I love you so much. Have a wonderful day, a wonderful week. Bye.